Well,
Guys,
basically, we're just gonna ask you about, I guess that the situation where you called all the skaters in because there were complaints coming from the Del Air community.
Yep,
I
yep.
was just gonna ask if you could maybe recap or revisit that period and kind of just like inform us on what happened and what led up to that meeting.
Sure. So I think there's a few things. One, keep in mind that when we moved from our previous campus to the new Da Vinci Design campus, we were moving into the Del Air neighborhood that previously the school, there weren't kids there. It was AYSO, right? So you're looking at, for the community, it was a little bit of a transition for them because for a number of 15 plus some on years, they didn't have students running around, right? So that was one part of it. Secondly, making sure that our skaters were being thoughtful and mindful of when they were skating, not skating in the street, in a dangerous way during pickup or drop off. So that was some of the reason why the community came to talk to me. And then I don't know if you recall, with Hawthorne being so close, there were a lot of students that came over from Hawthorne and were kind of congregating around at the end of that parking lot where the like electricity kind of boxes are.
Yeah.
And so just making sure that I trust all of the Da Vinci students, but sometimes it's not that I don't trust Hawthorne students, but it was important for me to make and develop relationships with those students. And I think I remember some of their names right now, but I think they've long since graduated, to make sure that they knew if they were, hanging out with their Da Vinci students, that they had to act in the same way that we want Da Vinci students to act. But the key tenets, I believe, if my memory serves me well, is just being mindful, being thoughtful, being respectful. I think I remember talking to you guys about on Friday morning, since we didn't start till 10, that we, when we're over in the park, that the facilities, the playground was catered for young children and not to be overrun by us as adults or teenagers. And so I think that you guys, you did a good job of sort of responding to constructive feedback and taking it, to heart. And I believe it improved. I don't know the status right now, so you may have to catch me up on that. But it sounds like you want to kind of create a positive culture around skateboarding and how to do that best. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, we're basically trying to make public areas more accessible to skateboarding because a lot of areas we have issues with like security guards, or they've put up skate blockers so we can't grind or do tricks over them. And basically the whole point of this video and this interview is to kind of get the perspective of non-skateboarders and kind of address the issues. So thank you.
Can I give you a few suggestions?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so one, do you have a pen and paper or your iPad there?
Yeah.
We have a audio recording as well.
Oh, okay. So there is a new skate park here in Encinitas, and Encinitas is spelled Encinitas, and it's a non-profit skate park that is solely dedicated to skateboarders. And so it was built within a community park that just opened earlier this year. And to your point, Chris, it promotes skating as a healthy kind of endeavor or activity for young men and women. And so they actually have a bowl area where people can kind of drop down and do their tricks. And then they also have, I don't know if it's called the bowl area. I don't know what you guys call it. But then there's also the design setup, and you can Google it and see the scope and sequence. It may be a good idea to connect with the Encinitas Town Hall, because it was something that within the full land, there's a dog park, there's a skate park, there's an area for kids, so there's areas for all walks of life. Another individual that you should maybe connect with is Tony Hawk. And you probably know Tony Hawk fairly well, but he has a nonprofit that helps to bring skating to communities and bring it to communities in a drug-free it's called Natural High is his organization, and he's actually very well connected with several schools here in San Diego and North County. So that may be a good idea to see what programs are currently in Los Angeles, or how can you learn from other programs maybe in San Diego.
Yeah, those sound really good. And we were actually in San Diego on last Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we were connecting with this man by the name of Alec Beck, and basically what Alec did is he connected with Nike SB, and they made the West LA courthouse skateable again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for a long time it was illegal to skate over there, but they came to an agreement and kind of established like a middle ground. So that's basically what we're trying to follow.
That's great. Yeah, I think following the nonprofit route, so Tony Hawk and several others have had a great deal of influence here in San Diego, because Hawk is a San Diego native. Actually, his stepson goes to my husband's school. So if you guys need to get in contact with them, I could probably connect you with the Hawk Foundation if you're interested.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. I'll see if I can do that. Chris, should I connect you with Isaac via the email that we've been communicating on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So what are your goals? What do you specifically, is this part of your senior project?
Yes, it is. Our goal as a group is to basically establish a mutual respect between skateboarders and property owners, because as of right now, I feel like there's kind of this level of tension between the two, because they don't really understand one another. Skaters don't understand why they get kicked out of spots, and property owners don't understand why skateboarders come to their property and skate when they could go to a skate park or skate somewhere else. So we're just trying to, I guess, address the two issues and help them understand one another.
So what are your thoughts? Because if you present this, if you have, like you said, the West LA courthouse, that is now, so it's not a prescribed skate park. You're just using the facilities and the grounds as a skate park, right?
Yeah, they made it so that it's not a skate park, so there's not as many people going through there. However, you can still go in and skate, meaning that they've taken out maybe like cement ledges and put metal ledges in to reduce the damage of property. They've made it cleaner now, so they maintain the space. So just little things like that.
Yeah, and the other difference is that basically, like, it's still like a operating, like business grounds to an extent. So it's like, it's just they've came to this agreement where, the citizens or, the people going in and out of the building and the skaters, give them the respect and, the space that they need. So, they're conscious of, like the privilege that they do have to skate there. And so far, there hasn't been too many problems.
That's good. So are you guys looking to create, to build upon that movement? Are you trying to duplicate that movement from the West LA courthouse to new locations? And if so, what are those locations?
Yes, we are. And some of the locations, I know there was this spot in Northrop Grumman that we were kind of shooting for, but that might be a stretch. But there's also a better known location called Jaquan, which is on Wilshire Boulevard, and for years that was like it still is a famous skate spot, but the owners of the building still have issues and they always have to kick people out, so we're gonna try and get in contact with them.
Do you, have you attempted to try to schedule a meeting with them?
It's funny, we walked in the building last week and the security guard was so rude to us. We didn't even go there to skate, we were just trying to get in contact with somebody in an office if they could direct us, and she just would not cooperate with us. So after talking with Alec, he suggested that we call real estate brokers, and through that we could get in contact with those who actually own the building and get their perspective.
What's this guy's last name again? Alec what?
Beck, B-E-C-K.
And it's A-L-E-C?
Yeah, and he was a former he's a pro skateboarder, so he has a pretty extensive knowledge of both sides, because he was a skater, and so he knows how skaters are, and he also had to do a lot of research in order to be in those like town hall meetings and be able to hold his own and still represent the skate community.
The power of, I think social media could really work in your favor here. Have you thought about doing any kind of art installation pieces where you have, your image, so maybe like literally your face is just almost like a player card where it's like in terms of, okay, this is your name, this is you're a student at a college prep school, here's your skating, which is completely acceptable? Or have you thought about maybe trying to get images of businessmen and women in Los Angeles, some of whom may be doctors or lawyers or entrepreneurs who also skate, and sort of demystifying that skating isn't just for young men and women that cause trouble, but it's actually a pastime.
Sorry, there was technical difficulty.